Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. It is the final of PogChamps. I'm so sorry that this is coming out later than expected. I've had to deal with things I didn't expect to deal with. But it is the final. I am showing you two games from the final. I'm not covering the semifinals, so I will tell you your finalists. We have Samay Raina, who defeated Andrea Botez. It required 3 games. They had to go to a tiebreak game. And Sardoche, who got past Linda Diaz and then Masi Oka. So he went a long way, but he did the job right. Samay Raina received a bye. He obviously topped his group. These two came from the same group, so it is on between these two. Sardoche getting it done the hard way to reach the final. This was the first game that they played. Samay Raina with the white pieces. C4, knight f6, d4, c5. Just by the way, Samay Raina lost 1 game all tournament until this point. He lost 1 game to Andrea Botez, had to come back to win 2 games against her. He's lost 1 game, d5, b5, takes, and a6. A lot of the players, I don't know if this is prep, a fair few have gone for the Banco Gambit. Now, if you fully accept the Gambit, you take this, and then you allow this. Now, most people just play bishop takes, because what happens then is white will play something like e3 or knight to c3 and e4, and then you take and you play king takes f1. Normally, that's the main line of the Banco Gambit accepted. But e6, challenging the center, d takes e6, f takes e6, and now e4, which to me doesn't look right, because knight takes e4. I suppose the idea is you get the queen check on the king, and you have to force them into something like g6, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway, knight c6 is played, we don't take the pawn, and then knight to c3. Bishop e7, knight to f3, d5. Expanding in the center, but this isn't quite in the style, I don't think, of the Banco. E takes, and now bishop to g5. A bit of a miss, d4. White's better, because they're just up 2 pawns. And now queen a4. The idea is very simple. If you take my knight, I take your knight with check. And you either block with the bishop. That's the problem. You block with the bishop. So there's bishop d7. The best winning move here is to take the knight, because white's idea is to do this. But if you do this, bishop d7 is a huge problem, because queen hangs and I take this, or I push and threaten to make a queen. So something like queen b7, rook b8, and now b takes. Actually, you could probably sack the queen, because then here, and that pawn's actually quite strong, because you can bring the bishop back, you can get this bishop to defend, and you could try this. It's very bad, but bishop d7, bishop b5, d takes c3. Take the knight, take here, great in-between move, to threaten to take the rook and then to take the rook, but bishop takes is check. Rook d1, the best move, but this is check. It's not a great move, because you can play like queen takes d7, and then you're like maybe forced into all of this, king takes d7, and now you've got to play like rook d1, but you probably have to play rook b1, and it's not as good. So rook d1, the best move, castles, and now check, and knight jumps into e5. Honestly, stunned for words, because this is just a crazy position. You can take this but lose your queen. We're putting as much pressure as we can on this, but there's still something like rook a7 that can help defend. You can get the bishop in the way. You can try and move your knight forward. It's a horrible position for black to be in, but white still needs to probably castle to keep their king safe. But while all these things are being threatened, there's just a rook hanging as well, by the way. It's really hard for black to get anything. So queen a5 check is the perfect move. Now you force them to go back with bishop d2, and now you can play something like queen c7. The rook is closed, so nothing so long is being threatened. Knight check is a blunder, for one reason you can take. Why? Because after queen takes, queen e5 check is the main line, but queen takes c6 is just plenty fine. Now material is equal, but you have got some serious problems and threats. Short castles, and now look at this, bishop d6. Bishop comes out, we're just threatening mate. Just threatening mate, trying to get everything. And there is one move here that holds. Bishop f8. It's really difficult to see that, I will admit to you, but bishop f8 holds everything together. Bishop f8 defends this, you can't take, and there's no light squared bishop anymore to help you get there. There's one other move you can try, which is rook g8, but that is far more suffocating to the king. Unfortunately, instead of all of this, we have bishop takes h2 check. Still better for black, but after king h1, which is not the best move is to play king takes h2. Just take the bishop, don't slide over. King h1, rook g8. Sacrificing the bishop. I don't understand why it's a brilliant move, because otherwise you would have got mated. So you have to defend somehow. Rook takes bishop. Sorry, just got confused for a moment. Knight takes d7, and now what do we do? You can take a bishop. You've got to worry about promotion, and this pawn eventually will probably make its way forward to help out. This is not mate, that's not mate, and you've got some serious problems. So what are we going to start with? Well, bishop to d2. Probably trying to line up something like this. Bishop e5. Defending that, defending this, and defending that. Rook e1. c4. f4. Forcing the bishop to make a choice. It goes back to f6, and now king h2. Surprisingly a good move. Gets out of this. It is on a dark square, but there's actually no threats. Not a bad move. I don't hate it. Black is still completely winning, rest assured. But black has to be careful. Because if you play something like c3, you hang mate. It's a mate in 4 for Samay Raina, who finds rook e8 check. Oh, not rook e8, rook e8. And now you've got choices to make. Knight f8, rook takes, queen c8, and queen takes, checkmate. c3, the hidden threat that no one picked up. Rook e8. Seals the win. Sardoche now has to try and come back. So let's turn this off so there's no spoilers for the second and potentially final game of this tournament, of this incredible tournament. It is now, of course, Sardoche with the white pieces. And he has e4, c5, a Sicilian defense. Knight to f3, knight to c6, d4, c takes, knight takes, e5. Not always a popular move, but played. Knight to b5, d6, and now knight 1 c3, a6. Knight jumps back, and now b5. These guys are just playing proper opening theory. This has all been seen before. Knight jumps into d5, knight to f6, and now c4. Pawn takes, bishop takes, and now bishop e7, slight mistake. Castles, rook e1, rook b8. I'm just going to ignore the mistakes. They're not mistakes. b3, knight d4, knight to c2, knight takes c2, queen takes c2, knight takes d5, bishop takes d5. We've gotten to this position. Both sides have 2 bishops. Black has a bit of a backwards pawn and a weakness over here that white will look to exploit. White's got a 2-on-1 on the queen side that they will look to push. This is Sardoche's best chance. Bishop e6 looking to exchange, and now rook e3. And this one I am going to highlight because you need to focus on where you're stronger. Because now you can play bishop takes d5, pawn takes d5, and that advantage of having the hole on d5 is gone. You needed to keep your pawn here and to try and occupy d5 with a piece, because you're putting pressure on black's main weakness, which is d6. f5 now, and look at that. Black now has a beautiful center with all of this, and your pawn is stuck and frozen, and it can become a serious weakness. Rook to h3. Now I'm threatening, nasty ideas there on h7, but just rook c8. Queen slides to d3, but now queen c7. And you've got some problems. Bishop out to e3, queen c3. Let's trade queens. I'm happy with the draw, and Samay Raina is better. Queen back to f1 is an insane move, but now queen b2. Oh my gosh, what happened there? E takes d5, f5, yeah. Queen f1, queen b2, a4. a4 is not a good move because you hang this. f4 though, targets the bishop. Bishop drops back to c1. And hangs a rook. And Samay Raina, in sensational fashion, losing one game all tournaments, is your SuperPogChamps champion for 2025. Right at the end. Horrible way to win a game, I suppose, or to lose a game. Just hanging a rook in one move. Just bishop back. Probably the best move is actually to go here. Is what I would play, because then you can support it with a5. And then your rook also defends this. Probably the best move. Bishop f6 is still a problem, and then they threaten nasty things like this. But you've got stuff like, rook e1, rook d1, even rook b1 is fine, and then a5. And it's a playable position. Bishop c1. I don't know how it's not classed as a blunder, but yeah. Queen takes a1. Hangs the rook, and so now we will shift screens, per se. Oh, it's not up. Why is it not up? There it is. Okay, and I will show you how the tournament bracket ended. Of course, as I told you, we had the quarterfinals. Sardoche getting it done against Masi Oka, 1.5 points to a half. And Samay Raina required tiebreaks, required a dramatic comeback, gets past Andrea Botez. That was all in the championship bracket. In the consolation bracket, for those of you who are curious, it was won by the first ever PogChamps winner. PogChamps 1 champion, Voyboy, who got it done quite convincingly. He got a bye into the semifinals, defeated Spargo 2 points to nothing, and defeats SonicFox 2 points to nothing. SonicFox, who required tiebreaks against Daryl Morey and against Will Benson, gets to the final. Unfortunately, goes down 2-0. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was SuperPogChamps.